All right, you guys, I was telling you about a little project in my yard. This is what we got going on. So I built this patio cover last year. It's like 16 by 16. I built all these brackets, mainly just for looks. I mean, it does give it some support, but I built all these metal brackets right here. It's like, I think it's 4.5 inch. Then I just welded this piece on right here. Bolted it in. I got it both sides, and I got it up there too. This one I had to build a little jog in it because of the 2x10 there. But I got it on both sides here. Looks pretty cool. Eventually I'm going to put lights up in here, and then I'm going to put some kind of beadboard or something in here. I did frame this out right here. We're going to eventually put gravel and concrete in here, just so we have a spot to sit. But this is currently what we're working on. We got all this grass from my parents' house. They ripped it out of the yard about 10 foot all the way around their fence. So we're gonna put it here, and it's gonna go that way, and some over on the other side, because as you can see, I don't really have a yard in the back because the dog's just kind of been ruining it since we moved in. This is like 100 by 100, I believe my backyard is. Got our garden there that we haven't put in yet because it's still kind of winter. Getting close, so we're gonna have to rototill that and get it all ready too. But I did want to show you this grass. Is, like I said, they ripped it up with like a bobcat, I'm assuming, but this is all the grass my dad brought out. It is pretty tough to pull this apart right now. It's kind of it looks like a giant dirt pile, but what I've been doing, I took my snow plow and I just been kind of back dragging it so I can pull these pieces out, and then I pull them out. Been setting them here. It looks really rough right now. I know that it should hopefully grow together someday. I'm gonna roll this thing a little bit once I get all the grass in, but it's pretty comical. Like I said, it's free grass. I can't complain about it. It's gonna be a lot of work, but the dogs already are loving the grass back here. Every time I come out here, they're just laying out here. We got 2 dogs and my brother-in-law's dogs here too, so that's what I'm going to be working on today. Kind of show you guys what I'm doing. I know it's not great, but eventually someday it will be pretty good. It's already better having the grass. The dogs they have a tendency to get little pebbles stuck to their feet out here, and they drag it in the house. It's just a little bit of a mess. So hopefully this will help a little bit with that. I'm going to try to get all this sawed in this weekend. And maybe the gravel, we'll see. The gravel we might have to wait on for a little bit. See how my back handles all this. I'm contemplating going and renting I think they call it a dingo, with like a scoop bucket, so I can scoop this stuff up, bring it in the backyard and just dump it and then lay it out. But it's going to take me a while. I've been pulling this stuff up and using my Sawzall, just cutting it into a little more manageable chunks, because some of these are pretty big. I mean, some of them are like 4x4 pretty much sheets. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. I'll try to see how far we get, how far my back will handle it. All right, so we're making a little bit of ways here. Got all this done. This is tough work. I don't know how people do this for a living. This stuff's heavy. They just cut it yesterday. It's starting to dry out a little bit, so it's helping, but you can see it's a little patchy, but eventually that'll all grow in. But at least we have grass. I made it through. Watch out, dog. Made it through the first pile. I'm a quarter of the way through this second pile. There's about, I think my dad brought 5 loads out here, and like a 7 by 12 dump trailer, 2 foot sides on it, looked like. So I got a ways to go. But this is what I've been doing just to make it a little more manageable for me. I got my my Chinese tool sales Sawzall, and I put a wood blade in it. I'm just rolling these over because they dumped them out of a trailer, so they're just kind of piled on top of each other. Oh, so I'm rolling those over like that, and I'm taking my Sawzall and cutting them down to more manageable size, like 2x2, maybe 3x3 on some of them. Yeah, this is a workout. I've only been out here maybe an hour. I'm already tuckered. My back's starting to hurt. My legs hurt. My wife's currently sick right now, so we're not feeling well, so I'm not really gonna ask her to help me. I don't expect her to. I got the hot tub going for her. She's gonna get in the hot tub, get her muscles relaxed. I'm guessing after all this, I'll be in there later tonight. Misha, get in the yard. Onyx, come on. Our dog's out in the neighbor's field. The big white one doesn't want to stay in the yard. That's actually my brother-in-law's dog. She's a pretty good dog. She barks a lot. And she's big. She's huge. She's like a pony. And that's our little black lab. Huh, Onyx. All right, we're back at this. I had to take a mental break for a minute. We got quite a ways with the grass. My wife was feeling better, so she did decide to come out and help me, even though I told her not to. I got the rest of this framed out. We're eventually going to build walls this way and the roof here to block, because most of our wind out here comes from the north, kind of blows right at our hot tub. So we're gonna build a couple walls here. It'll probably be like some kind of plexi, see-through, that wavy roof stuff. There'll be a lower wall here going back, kind of inset. We're gonna do something on the bottom. We're not quite sure what yet. We originally didn't extend this roof all the way over because we have an egress window right there behind the barbecue. We wanted as much light to go down into our basement as possible. So we left this top open, and it's gonna be like see-through roof. So we get that light in our basement still. We didn't want to block any of that because it is a basement, it's dark. So that's what we're planning on doing. We'll see how this comes together. We're kind of winging it at this point, just trying to get a border so we can get this grass. We're gonna carry it around here, have a section here. We'll see how far we get. We've still got a couple rows of stuff my dad dumped, so we'll keep picking at this. Like I said, there'll be future videos of this walls and roof build. It's going to be interesting. I kind of have some ideas in my head. My wife has some. I'm sure we'll probably fight about it. But we'll get to that one of these days. There'll be probably another video after we get this grass down. All right, you guys. Sorry I had to take a little break there. I took my snowplow and I back drug all this, and I was pushing some of it over there in the corner. I got a pile of rocks right there that I'm gonna get rid of someday. And I broke my plow. I freaking snapped the link on the chain off, so I had to go deal with that. And then we had to go get gravel for this because we're gonna cement all this. So yeah, we went and got gravel. My brother-in-law works at a gravel pit, so he was able to load us up today, and we'll just pay on Monday. So we're gonna get all this off here. It's like 3 yards, so all this is gonna be concrete essentially. So we gotta get all this gravel in here, and then someday when we can afford to pay to concrete this, we will. For now, we're just gonna leave it gravel. Look at my son here helping me. Young muscles. Since my back hurts because I laid all this sod. All of it. It looks really okay. Really okay, I guess is the word for it. It's a little lumpy and bumpy, but eventually I'm hoping it'll smooth out. I'm probably a couple years I'll pour some dirt over it and kind of level it out and let the grass grow back through it, so it'll level out a little bit, is what they say. I've been kind of watching some stuff online, and I think it'll smooth out eventually. It's better than this mess I got going on out here, so my wife loves it. I'm really digging it right now too. So we kind of got this thing done. As done as we're gonna get it for now. You can see we got all of our framing up where our concrete's gonna go. I'm tuckered, I'm not gonna lie. This was a lot of work for me. We got all this grass in. I'm gonna come back someday and probably trim this. This is the amount that we got for free. Putting some water to it right now, trying to get it to take. Here's my dog Onyx. But we did get all the framing up, got all the grass laid, and then my brother-in-law works for a sand and gravel place. So he loaded me after hours. I'm gonna go back and pay on Monday. But we got about three and a half yards of, I think it's like 3/4 gravel. And me and my oldest son, we shoveled it off my trailer into here. It took a while. I got all of our carpets put back down for right now. This just temporary because all this is going to be concrete. Got my barbecue put back temporarily till we get all this done, but right now it's looking pretty good. It really made this look way better. A little out of the shop stuff, but happy wife, happy life, right? So it's kind of where we're at. It's looking pretty good. I got all my furniture back in there temporarily till we get our concrete poured. I got pretty good customers. I've done quite a bit of work for them. They're concrete guys. They actually, that's my shop over there. They poured the floor in my shop, or helped pour the floor in my shop. They were helping out another buddy. It's actually how I met them. I've done multiple trailers for them. Tongues on trailers. They had a trailer that I think you guys heard in another video. They bought it. Somebody had rolled the trailer with a bobcat on it, and it was really mangled. They brought it out here, put a bunch of money into it, and it's been a really good trailer for them. I've worked on another trailer that they jackknifed, bent the tongue on it, and I cut the whole tongue out, put a new tongue in for it. Then they had a third trailer that just the hitch part of it was broke, so I cut that off and ground all the welds off and put a new tongue in, or the hitch part in it for them. So I'm gonna give them a call, kind of, you know, share the wealth, bring it back to them, because they brought me a bunch of business. So I'm gonna have them pour this for me so I don't have to do it. I poured this section underneath my hot tub here. Me and my dad did. We formed it all up and had a concrete truck come out here, and we poured it and leveled it. This is just a big area. I don't want to deal with it, so I'm gonna have them do it, you know, share that wealth back to them. So that's kind of where we're at. It's looking pretty good. We're gonna have a pretty good slab here. I still got to figure out how I'm gonna frame out around this, because you can see my window well is actually lower than my slab, so I got to figure out something here. I might talk to them, see what I can do. I'm thinking like some 1/4 inch. I might have to, like, right on this corner, do a bunch of slices in it to get it to roll around there. We'll see. They might have a better idea than that, but I'll talk to those guys about it. We've become pretty decent friends through business stuff, so I'll give them a holler and see what they want me to do with it. They kind of gave me a price if I frame this all up, got all the gravel in it and stuff, so we're gonna go with them just because, you know, they brought me business. I want to give it back to them. All right, everybody, we're back on this back patio area. Oh, sorry. I got my concrete guys were working out a deal. They got a truck that they need a whole bunch of, like, lift stuff that doesn't work, cut off the back of it, and some other stuff they don't want on it. So we worked a little bit of deal. I'm gonna do a little work for them, and they're gonna come pour this pad for me at a discounted rate. So I'm pretty excited about that, because now I can actually afford to concrete this. But I do got to deal with this window well. As you can see, my concrete up here, there's this about, I think it's like 5 or 6 inches, but my window well, as you can see, it's lower down here. It's lower than my concrete, so when they pour the concrete in here, I don't want it going in my window well. So I'm gonna have to do something about this. I think I got a piece 16 gauge out in the shop. It's not, this is about 11 feet all the way around this. I called and priced a piece of 1/8 inch, and it is freaking expensive right now. I'm just not willing to pay for it. So I got some 16 gauge. I think I'm gonna try to roll these radiuses on it, and I'm gonna have to weld a couple pieces together, grind it smooth. I think I might just run screws on the inside into it that way to hold it in there. We'll see. It's not ideal what I want to do. I really want a piece of 1/8 inch so I can roll it and it's going to be good and stout. But I don't know. I'll probably try the 16 gauge. I might put some bolts, weld some bolts sticking out this way, so when they pull the concrete, it pours around those bolts and holds it in there. Then it'll be tied into the window well from the inside. We'll see. We're gonna go out to the shop. My daughter and son are out there. They got a friend over, so we'll see how noisy it is in there, what kind of damage they're causing in my shop. They've been out there a while, so gotta show you my sign. I made a sign for my shop. Pretty cool. I cut this. It's a HDPE. I just cut that on my router. Then I welded up all this. I got a little scroll bender, scroll bent that top piece, just make it look kind of cool. So oh boy, chaos. All right, everyone, kind of show you what I got going on here. It's not ideal. It's not exactly what I wanted to do, but I priced out a piece of 6x8. I needed 12 feet of it to go around this window well. My local store here was like 97 bucks. I ain't gonna pay that. There's no way. I called another place north of here. They were like 63, so huge price difference. They'll actually deliver it to my house, but they only come down to Helena on Wednesdays, so kind of need this done before. I'm gonna try to scab this together with what I got. I think when it's done, it'll look pretty good. It's just not exactly what I want, but we're gonna make it work anyways. So this is my piece 16 gauge. So I cut these. I got one here, one here. I gotta cut one more for the middle piece. I'm gonna end up welding these together, grinding everything smooth. But what I'm gonna do, because as you can see, it's only 16 gauge, it's pretty floppy. I'm gonna put this in my bead roll. I got some step and dies here. Hopefully you guys can see this. So I got a step die right here. I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna run it just on the outside lip. So if this is the top of it, I'm gonna run it like right here. So I can get a bead in this, trying to get a little bit of rigidity to it, because like I said, it's pretty floppy. Once I kind of put that bead in the top, it'll hopefully stiffen it up just a little bit. I'm gonna probably just screw this into my window well. The good thing about it with that step, it'll kind of give it a little bit of a finished look. Once they pour the concrete up against it, they'll smooth it off to the top edge of this, and they'll have just a little step in the end of it. It should look pretty cool. Give it a little bit of rigidity, make me feel a little better about what I'm doing instead of doing what I actually want to do. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this bead roll set up here. I'm gonna bead roll these two panels. I'm gonna do one of them, try it, see if I like it. I think it'll be all right. It should sturdy up and look pretty good against the window. I'll have to do a little bit of sanding on this. I'll probably paint these to match my window well. I'll probably paint them white, more than likely. We'll see. But I'll show you as I get going here. Once I get one of these kind of stepped, you'll kind of see the difference once I get that bead in there. Okay, I got my table on my bead roll here. Got my step dies in there. I rolled my first piece. Kind of wanted to show you guys what this does. So you can see, let me try to get my hand out of the way. See how it just made that little step? So like I said, this is 16 gauge, so it's a little floppy, but what it did, it put a little bit of rigidity in that panel, where you can see this one like a noodle. This one's almost moving together now because it's got that bead in it, and it just kind of gives it kind of a cool little step. So if I kind of go this way, the step isn't like huge, but it's just enough to kind of give it a little bit of design. Just because it's 16 gauge, I don't know. I wanted it to be 1/8 inch, but I couldn't bead roll 1/8 inch. Like I said, this kind of makes this more like 1/8 inch because it has that little step in it. It just gives it more rigidity, and it'll look really good once I get it screwed into my window well and painted white. It'll look like an actual extension of it, and this will kind of match the corrugation that's in my egress window well. So it'll look pretty cool. Then that way, when it's sitting this way, the concrete will actually have this little gap to sit in. So it'll just kind of finish off the edge of the concrete. Should look pretty good. And that way later on, like I said, I'm gonna probably just screw through my window well into this, and then my screws will be hanging out the back side of it this way. And I'm gonna leave them long, so when they pour the concrete, that concrete forms around there, and it should hold this right up flush against concrete. I'm hoping. We'll see what they say when they see it. I think it'll work pretty good though. I'm gonna actually bead roll this one, then I got to make a panel in between them and weld all three together, because I don't have a piece 16 gauge that's 12 feet long. So it's about what it's going to take to get around this. All right. I'm going to try to set you guys up so you can kind of see how I'm doing this. I got these pretty close together, like they're almost bottomed out, because this is 16 gauge. It's a little heavy to be doing some beads in for this thing. To me, it feels like I am no expert at this. I got this thing and I built like the door cards on my racer, my dash, my visor, stuff like that. I'm no professional at this. This takes a lot of patience. It's definitely not something you can do quick. There's a lot of guys out there that are really good at this. But what I'm essentially doing is I'm putting my metal in here, and I'm lining the edge of this metal up with this top die, and I'm just running it through one pass, because I got this thing cranked down pretty good. As soon as you hit, there's a foot pedal down there. You just step on this and then this thing starts feeding when you step on it. I don't have it plugged in currently, but I put it right there and I just line up this outside edge with that outside of that top die, and I'm just running it down there. So it's essentially, it's just giving me this 1/2 inch bead, and since these are like a step and I got a little space between my upper and my lower die, it kind of almost puts a little 45 there. So it's not a perfect square corner, it's almost like it's flat 45s and then goes flat again. It actually looks really good against my window well because it kind of has the same kind of shape. So I'm gonna kind of try to show you what I mean by this takes a little bit of patience. This will be the piece that goes in between them, between my other two pieces, because I'm kind of putting 3 pieces together because I don't have 11-foot sheet. Helps if I plug it in. Okay, so as you step on the pedal, you see it feed. I'm just lining up that outside of that metal with that. And I'm just kind of trying to keep it right on that edge. Like I said, this is definitely a patience thing, which I am not super great. I'm not the most patient person in the world. I want stuff done quick and fast. So I can get on to something else. But I just feed that through real slow, keeping my eye on this edge to make sure it's right next to that die. And what I've noticed with this thing is small movements left and right. So essentially this way to the die goes a long ways. If you do too big of a move, you're really gonna see it in your bead. It's just gonna look like a big old wowie. So patience, real slow, and just keep your eye on the edge of that die, on the edge of your material. Go real slow. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there way better at this than me. I'm just doing it because I think it looks cool. I like stuff that functions and looks pretty cool. So that's kind of why I'm doing it. I do need just a little bit of rigidity here. There's going to be concrete poured up next to this. You guys will see that later on in this video when I get it. The 3 pieces tacked together, I'm going to screw this into my window well from the inside, because I got a bunch of screws left over. When they built my shop, they dropped a bunch of screws. Whoa. I almost got off my line there. And my daughter went around one night and picked them all up. I bet she found several hundred screws that they dropped when they sided the outside of my building. So I threw them in a bucket and I've had them for a while. I'm gonna actually use these to screw this essentially window well extension into my existing window well. I'm hoping the screws will stick through far enough on the backside where the concrete will actually tie into it a little bit and tie this metal to that concrete a little more permanently. So I just got off my line like 1/8 of an inch or so. This panel is way bigger than I need, so I'll cut a piece out of the other side. I'm just gonna run this through real quick. So now you can see I got my bead in there, and it's like when I first got this bead roll, I thought this was gonna be like you'd see these beads big time. It's just enough to give it a little design essentially, and just a little bit of rigidity by folding that metal over. It just looks kind of cool. And you can see I got it pinched pretty hard because the die is actually like almost scribing a line in there. But I wanted that folded over because it's gonna sit this way and the concrete's gonna fill into that gap. And you'll see that a little bit. I'll show you better when I get it all screwed in. You'll kind of get a better idea of what it's actually gonna do. So I'll show you that once I get these. I'm gonna weld these 3 pieces together, grind everything smooth. I'll probably get them installed and then I'll show you guys. It'll make more sense, let's put it that way, once I get it in there. All right, so here's my window well. So all this is gonna be concrete. You guys kind of seen this from the back. Got this egress window here. This is about how low I am. So my egress window's down there, and I just need to extend that up so it's level with my other concrete. So my concrete guys have something to smooth this over to. So what I'm doing, I'm gonna put this piece in and then
right under this lip, I'm gonna put screws in to hold this in. Like I said, I got my little lip here on the outside. My concrete will be all the way up to here, so it'll hide this, but what it does is it kind of ties into this, my egress part of my window, this white stuff, with that lip. Just kind of looks cool, kind of finishes it off. All my screw heads will be hid under this edge, because they're like a dark gray color, which is the top color of my house and the top color of my shop. So no one will ever really see them. I'll know they're down there. I honestly don't like getting down this window well. We have a ton of black widows out here. It's still pretty cold right now. My wife did see one the other day. I don't like getting down there. It freaks me out. I don't like spiders, especially black widows. But I do have to climb in there and put these screws in. I'll get that side mounted, this side mounted. Then I'll cut my piece in the middle, go in the shop, I'll weld everything together, and I'm just literally leveling this piece of metal off my pad. Me and my dad poured this pad for my hot tub, my old hot tub. So I'm just leveling it off of there. Then that level will tie into my framework that I have out here. There's a slight slope going out. I did slope it that way so the water will drain. Someday we're gonna build a wall here and a wall here to block the wind. It'll be some kind of plexi, treated wood, plexiglass kind of thing. I'm not sure yet. I got a few designs in my head, but got to get the pad down first. So this is my first thing to do. I got to get this done. These guys want to pour this next week. I'm going to trade them some work. They're bringing a truck up tomorrow. Then I'm going to do a little chopping on with my pliers, cut some stuff off they don't need. So I'm trying to get this done so hopefully they can pour it next week if it's warm enough. Pretty sure it's going to be. So we'll get this done. They'll be able to pour this. Everything will be just beautiful after that. All right, little trick for you guys. So I got this side, sorry, and this side mounted to my window well. I don't really know if these ends are like super square. This was a piece I just had laying around. I leveled this. You can see I put the board across the back there. So I leveled that side to my concrete, laid this board across there with my level on it to get the height of that side. So that board is level sitting across there. Then I just went down the sides, put my level on it, and just kept it level. These two out front here, here and here, they're perfectly level with each other. But like I said, I don't know where these ends are. This was a scrap piece. It could be out of square. I'm not even gonna worry about it. So the easiest way for me to get it, this is that third piece that I cut, or yeah, I guess I cut it in, rolled, and put the bead in it. So I just cut a little chunk of that off. And what I'm gonna do, I line it up here, and then on the back side I just draw my lines. So now, even if those ends are a little crooked, I got my marks here, so I'll just carry those marks down. I'll lay this on my shop floor, put everything together, tack this right in place there, grind everything smooth, and that's going to be perfectly in line. It's nice because of this little lip that I rolled in there. It lines this up perfectly. So set that in there, cut it off where I want, weld it in, clean everything up, and then I'll screw this thing right back in here. Should hold the concrete in. It gives it a little bit of character, so I like it so far. I might have to, there's a few little wowies in it just because it's 16 gauge. I'll get my dolly and hammer and kind of tap on it a little bit, straighten those out before they pour the concrete in here. Yeah, so that's where we're at. We're gonna get this unscrewed, that piece put in, and screw back in, and hopefully these guys can pour this week. Okay, guys, or everybody. Alright, so kind of showing you what I got going on here. So here's that little piece that I'm going to scab in there. This is the inside of the window well, essentially. So as I said before, this actually was pretty square. Once I drew these lines out, they were pretty right on. But here's the thing, if they were crooked like that, I would just trace those lines down and I'd weld it up. You're only going to see, you can see there's a screw hole right there where it screwed it in. So only about this much of this is actually what you're going to see above the window well. So I'm going to put my weld on this side because this is towards the window well. The back side, the concrete will be flush, so you won't see, there's going to be some penetration here and stuff, so I'll clean this side up. because you will see about this much of it. Yeah, probably about there. But it lined up really good. Same with on this side. I don't have everything sitting perfect right now on the floor, but so once wow, that's really hard to do. So that's gonna line up right there. I'm gonna hammer and dolly that out just a little bit, so it lines up just a little bit better. But once I get this all tacked together, it'll be one piece. You'll barely even see that right there. I'll probably paint this white and then stick it up. I don't know, I might paint it afterwards with a paintbrush. I'm not a real big fan of painting. It's not my favorite thing to do in the world, that and grinding. So I'll get these kind of tacked together, cleaned up, kind of show you what I got, and then we'll go throw it back in there. You can see these, since these were 16 gauge, they've already kind of formed to the window since I screwed it in there. I didn't even have to roll this on my metal roll just because it's pretty thin. But like I said, it's just giving the concrete guys something to run their concrete up to. Should work pretty good. Should look pretty decent, better than not having anything there. I am not sure what they would do if I didn't put this in here. If they probably scab some wood in there or something, I don't know. So I'm gonna make this for it. I'm sure they'll appreciate that it's in there, have something to screed up against. So I'll get this done, show you guys. Freaking camera. All right, so I got this thing on here. Now you can see the little piece that I welded in there. I did have to take my hammer and dolly. If you've watched any kind of body work or anything, it just kind of straightens it out. This is really thin. You can kind of see I didn't really grind this side off because I really don't care what it looks like. The concrete's going to be all the way up against it, flush with the top here. So from this side I did clean it up, ground it kind of smooth. I'm going to come back here and dolly and hammer this just a little bit more. I got two little wowies there. Sorry, you guys probably can't even see that. So that's what I'm going to do. Smooth that out, but it just gave me just enough lip for my concrete to sit up against. Kind of finished off this edge.